Once, on the farthest edge of an island that no one remembered, stood a lighthouse that no one needed anymore. Its paint had faded from bright white to the color of salt. Its stairs creaked softly, like the sighs of an old sailor in his sleep. And at the very top, a single light still turned, slow, patient, as if waiting for a ship that would never come. They said the sea had changed. The ships had grown stronger, faster, guided by satellites and silent maps. But the lighthouse still stood, stubborn and kind, shining each night for the sake of shining. Not because anyone asked it to, but because that's what it was built for. 1. The Keeper and the Quiet Sea. Every evening, the keeper climbed the narrow spiral stairs, a lantern in his hand and the smell of sea salt on his clothes. His name was Jonas. Jonas had been the keeper for nearly 40 years. He had watched the sea in all her moods, when she was calm like glass, when she roared like 1,000 beasts, and when she whispered like a secret lover. But lately the sea had grown quiet, too quiet. Some nights, Jonas wondered if she had forgotten him. He would stand at the window, looking out into the endless dark, and whisper softly, "Still here, old friend, still shining." And the wind would answer, low and distant, like a voice trying to remember a song. 2. The Bottle and the Letter. One night, as Jonas tended the lamp, something unusual caught his eye, a faint glimmer down at the edge of the rocks. He took his lantern and walked carefully down the steep steps. The tide was low, and the sea lay stretched like a sleeping animal, his breath slow and even. There, half buried in seaweed, he found a bottle, old, green, its glass fogged with salt. Inside was a letter. He opened it gently, the paper soft as breath. The handwriting was small and delicate, as if written by moonlight itself. It said, "To the one who still keeps the light. I dream of your tower each night from the sea. I am lost, but your light finds me. Keep shining, I am coming home." Jonas stared at the words, his heart thudding softly in his chest. It was impossible. No ships had passed this way in years. But he smiled, because for the first time in so long, someone had written to the light. 3. The Night of the Storm. Days passed. Each night, Jonas polished the lens, lit the flame, and waited. Then one evening, the wind began to change. The horizon darkened, and the air grew heavy with the scent of rain and iron. A storm was coming, the kind that tore waves apart and made the island tremble. Jonas moved quickly, securing the shutters, checking the fuel, and tying ropes around the tower's base. He knew the sea was wild, but he also knew she never meant harm. She just had to speak in her own language. As lightning split the sky, Jonas climbed to the top of the lighthouse and looked out. And there, far beyond the foam and fury, a single light flashed back. Not lightning, a ship's lantern, for the lost ship. The ship fought the waves like a creature from an old myth, rising and falling, its sails shredded, its hull glowing faintly in the storm's light. Jonas turned the beacon toward it, flooding the night with a brilliant golden circle. "Come home," he whispered. "Follow me." The storm screamed, waves crashing like mountains against the rocks. But the ship kept coming, slow, steady, desperate. Hours passed, and when dawn finally began to bleed through the clouds, Jonas saw the wreck. The ship had reached the bay, but it had broken against the shallow reef. Wood and ropes floated like memories on the water. Jonas' heart sank. But then, through the mist, a shape moved. Someone was walking toward shore. 5. The Visitor. She was young, or perhaps she only looked that way in the pale light. Her hair was dark with sea water, her eyes clear as tide pools. Jonas wrapped her in a blanket and brought her inside the lighthouse. She said her name was Marin. When she spoke, Her voice had the rhythm of waves, soft, patient, endless. "I've been looking for this place," she said. "Your light, it called me home." Jonas didn't understand, but something in her gaze made him feel as though she wasn't entirely human. Perhaps a dream the sea had sent. Maren stayed for days. She asked about the light, about how it turned, how it burned through wind and rain. Jonas showed her everything. The gears, the lens, the steady heart of the flame. And for the first time in decades, the lighthouse felt alive again. 6. The memory of water. One night, Maren stood by the window, watching the sea glitter under a full moon. "Do you ever wonder what the sea remembers?" she asked. Jonas smiled faintly. "All of us, I think. Every ship, every dream." Maren nodded. "She remembers everything, but she forgets herself. That's why she needs the light, to remember where she ends and the sky begins." Jonas looked at her then, and saw something impossible. Tiny droplets of light shimmered on her skin, like stars dissolving into water. "Who are you?" he whispered. Maren turned and smiled sadly. "I am what was lost. And you, keeper, you are what kept the world from forgetting me." 7. The farewell. That night the sea rose again, not in anger, but in longing. The waves stretched higher, lapping against the stone base of the lighthouse, as if reaching for something it had once loved. Maren stepped out onto the rocks, her feet leaving no mark. The moonlight wrapped around her like silk. She turned to Jonas one last time. "Keep shining. When the world forgets its way, your light will always lead it home." And then she walked into the water, not sinking, not swimming, but dissolving into a million threads of silver. The sea shimmered once, then grew still. 8. The keeper alone. Morning came softly. The storm had passed. The air smelled of rain and salt and memory. Jonas climbed the stairs one last time. At the top he found the lens gleaming brighter than ever, as if touched by something divine. He stood there, watching the horizon, and though no ships came, and no letters arrived, he knew that somewhere, the sea still remembered. 9 years later, they say the lighthouse still shines, though no one lives there anymore. Sailors who pass in the night claim they see a figure at the top, an old man, his face gentle, his eyes glowing faintly with reflected moonlight. And sometimes when the tide is low, you can hear a woman's voice on the wind, singing softly, a song about coming home. No one knows if it's true, but those who've seen the light say it feels different. Not electric, not mechanical, but alive, as if the sea herself were breathing through it. 10. The light that never sleeps. And so, the lighthouse that no one needed became the one that no one could forget. It stands to this day, quiet and kind, its flame turning slowly through fog and stars. When night travelers lose their way, they look for that light, and when they see it, something in their hearts softens. They remember the words written in the old letter, "To the one who still keeps the light. I dream of your tower each night from the sea. I am lost, but your light finds me." And in that moment, even if they are miles away, they feel safe, they feel home, because somewhere, on a forgotten island beneath a faithful moon, a light still shines for the lost, and for the dreamers who wander between sleep and sea. Good night, dreamer. Let your heart rest, and let the sea of sleep carry you home. Crescent Moon.